delivery I have no idea what day it is. Hang on, I'll have to check because I can't remember again. I'm losing track of days. It's a Sunday, I know that because I've been at work. 7th, Sunday the 7th. Yeah, it's Sunday because I've not been at work, but I have been doing daft things like going around bathroom places, looking at tiles and doing manly things like putting together an exercise bike thing for my wife. It's not a bike though, it's one of those weird ones where you do that at the same time. Elliptical thing, I don't know, took me fucking hours to put it together. Anyway, we'll finish off the night with a couple of drams. I think we'll do 2 tonight and then give myself a break tomorrow. So, world tour is essentially complete because I've got nothing else to go on. So I thought we'd do a little bit of a run of whiskies that have been donated very kindly towards the cause. So the first one I'm going to do was actually donated by my next door neighbour, who when I put the call out on Facebook, she said, "Oh, I've got a couple of whiskies that I could probably give you, but don't tell my husband because he drinks them." So here is a picture of her that she sent through, basically proving that this is what she was giving me, and she wasn't basically winging into a bucket. And it's an Arran Malt. So here is the picture of how it turned up when I looked out the front door after she said, "I've left it outside, nice delivery for you," and this weird pot of odd looking liquid turned out. So I had to give it a sniff, and if it's not Arran whiskey then she needs to go and see a doctor, definitely. So that's why it's in here, because I had to transfer it into one of my own bottles. Now, Arran is one of the newest distilleries in Scotland. Arran, I'll put a map of where Arran is in relation to Scotland now, and it's just off the west coast, kind of level with Ayr, so Ayrshire, hop across the water, you've got Arran in the middle of it, and then if you were to go across the water again on the other side, you'd actually get into Campbelltown, which is used to be known as loads and loads of whisky distilleries are there. Now at the moment there's only one, but Campbelltown used to be very highly regarded. It's kind of like a mythical whisky distilling region that is no longer. So Arran was founded by a guy called Harold Curry, who used to be MD at Chivas and also House of Campbell, which was part of Pernod Ricard. So big name in the industry, in the drinks industry, and he set up this distillery on the Isle of Arran in a village or town called Lochranza, basically wanting to get into the market but wanted to do it his own way. Now it's one of the very few totally independent distilleries that are out there. It's a lot of distilleries, more than you would probably think, are owned by massive companies. Half a ton are owned by Diageo, the other half ton are owned by Pernod Ricard, and very, very few are kind of independent or aren't part of a collective or owned by a company that owns, say, 3, 4 or 5. Because what these companies are doing is, with blends, which is where a lot of their money is overseas, they're shipping stock between them. They're distilling whiskey and then basically sending it to each other in order to make these blends. That is what earns them the money. So not as big a proportion as you would think of the total amount of Scotch whisky that's made actually is released as single malts. So Arran, fiercely independent, determined to stay that way, relatively new, only opened in, it first started distilling in, I think it was 29th of June 1995. So when I was working at the whisky shop, Arran was only just starting to arrive because it was relatively young in terms of, they were releasing it unaged, but it was like a 6 and 7 year old. And it was interesting to see the progression of how it was going. So they've now got an official 10-year-old, which is about 35 quid. They also have the 14-year-old, because obviously the longer it's going, the older stocks that they've got. So the 10-year-old was good. I've managed to get the 14. Now, strictly speaking, I should be drinking the 10-year-old because I want to go for the core product, but this is one of their core products. It was really kindly donated by Helen next door, so it would be pretty dickish of me not to actually sample it and count it as the Arran that I'm going to taste for the challenge. So I'm really intrigued to know what this is like, because it's been a number of years since I had the Arran, and last time I had it would have been about a 7-year-old, so it was still young, but there was plenty of character to it. Really nice on the nose. Now, Arran is an island, so technically it's grouped in with the islands range of whisky, but again at that rough rule of thumb of kind of like Speyside tastes like this, Lowland tastes like this, islands taste smoky peaty. They don't, not all of them do. It's a very sweeping generalisation, but if you were to say, right, Arran, it's an island, you're expecting possibly some kind of smokiness. Now Arran's actually been dubbed Scotland in miniature, got all the characteristics of Scotland in terms of the mountainous regions, the heather, everything that's in Scotland in such a big country is kind of diluted and distilled into one island. So here there is a very, very slight smokiness, but it's very gentle. There's a lovely sweetness to it, a slight toffiness to it. It's kind of all different parts of Scotch whisky in terms of the lowland lightness, the Speyside sweetiness, the island. It's not really smokiness, it's more a saltiness, but there is a definite bite there. Really, really nice. There is a pepperiness to it. It's not too overpowering. It's not really a bonfire smokiness, and it's not really that medicinal tang that you get from Islays. It's not too heavy on the sweetness. Again, it's that kind of tart tatam, apple-y type character. There is fruitiness to it, but it's not dark fruits. It's very, very pleasant indeed. There's a very nice prickle to it as well, but it's not unpleasant. It's not a rough woodiness that you get with some of them. Very, very easy drinking indeed. A slight burn. Now, obviously I've kind of written on this in pen, and I should have checked up. In fact, why not do it now while I'm on here, because it behooves me to tell you what the alcohol percentage is of the 14-year-old, simply because I've been telling you all the rest, because I'm suspecting it might be slightly higher, just judging by the prickle that's on there. This is now fucking up for me. It's a little bit prickly, but it's like an alcoholic prickle, not a woodiness. So I would guess it's probably maybe 43%, something like that, rather than an actual 40. It just is slightly pricklier than I thought. That doesn't even say. That's no use. Oh no, yes. Oh, I wasn't far off. 46%. Yeah, that makes sense. There is just a slight prickliness to it, but it's an alcoholic prickly rather than flavour or wood or anything overpowering that shouldn't be there in terms of flavour. But to be honest, it's a pleasant prickle. It's not a right back of the throat, kapow, oh that's too strong. Very, very nice indeed. Very much not an entry level malt, because that's doing it a disservice, but you're really going to struggle to find somebody that doesn't like this, because it's not overly sherried, but it's got a nice sweetness to it. It's got a nice prickle and a nice salty pepperiness to it, but it's not overpowering like some of the Islays can be, or Talisker or anything like that. That looks really weird there. But it's not too gentle that it just completely dissipates on your mouth and completely disappears. It's really, really nice. Now apparently this is Mark, who is Helen's husband. This is Mark's favourite whiskey, so she was kind of like, don't tell him that I'm actually giving you a dram of this. And I can see why. Now apparently they go to Arran quite regularly, and it's fair play to them for picking up a number of bottles of this, because this is really, really nice at the end of the night. Nothing too over the top, really pleasant, settles you down, chills you out, nice stuff. Thank you very much, Helen. Cheers, Sláinte, which is the Gaelic for cheers, essentially, Sláinte that, or probably pronounced better by somebody else. But yes, very much appreciated. Thank you very much for your kindness, and it's gone down very, very nicely. Good stuff there. Right, that's me done. On to the next one.